Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a lot of bollocks. Tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about a two-player trading game. We're going to be talking about Jaipur as a fly in the room. Cough. And in this game you will be trading cards from your hand with the cards in the centre of the table, trying to get the most valuable goods and maybe a few camels along the way that will give you enough points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the rules. I'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like. We'll come back and we'll say whether or not Jaipur, should fucking check this beforehand, shouldn't I? It's still worth playing 9 years after it was first released in 2013. So remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So Jaipur is a two-player trading game. You're going to have a deck of cards with different types of goods on it. You're going to have leather, which is worth the least, and you're going to have diamonds, which are worth the most. There's a load of tokens that reflect goods that you're going to be trading, and you'll sort these out by goods type and you'll stack them highest to lowest. Each player is going to get 5 cards into their hand. If you've got any camels, you'll stick them on the table in front of you and you'll place 5 cards face up into the display. There's also some bonus tokens, and there's also a camel token that you will put to one side, right? So on your turn, you're going to take one or two actions. You're either going to take cards or you are going to sell cards. If you take cards, you'll be able to select any number of cards from your hand and you'll be able to swap them with the cards that are in the display. If you don't want to do this, you can take a good from the central display and replace it with the top card from the stack. You've got to remember that you can't have no more than 7 cards in your hand, you greedy piece of shit, right? So if you want to sell cards, you can sell any number of cards from your hand and you'll put them in a discard pile. For every type of good you sell, you'll be able to take a certain number of tokens, right? You'll always take the top numbered token, and dependent on how many goods you sell, you'll be able to take that number of tokens. If you sell 1 leather good, then you'll be able to take 1 leather token. Did you pass your GCSE maths or what? So if you sell 3, 4 or 5 goods, you'll be able to take the top token from the respective bonus tile stack and you'll put it face down in front of you, and this will relate to final scoring at the end of the game, right? Every time you take camel cards from the central display, you'll put them in front of you into a stack. And if you want to sell the most expensive top good, which is diamonds or gold, then you have to have a minimum number of 2 goods to sell it, right? So the round will end when one of 2 things happens. Either the deck runs out of cards or 3 different stacks run out of goods tiles, right? In which case you'll do a bit of end of round scoring. You'll turn over all of your tiles and you'll add them up. You'll notice that the bonus tiles have a varying number of rupees on them, so this is a bit of an unknown quantity when you take them. And the player who has the most camels will take the value 5 camel token and add it to their score. Player with the most rupees will take the favour token because the Sultan, right, a bit of favour, and you'll keep doing this until one player has got 2 favour tokens, and they will be the player that snuggles up to the Sultan. So what do we like about Jaipur? So the first thing that we really like about this game is that there's relative value in all of the different types of goods. When you first play this, first thing you're going to think of is, I'm going to hone in on those golds, right? But no, there is a nice little crafty strategy involved where you can collect those perceived as shitty leather goods and you can hold on to them and then flog them for 5 and get that really nice 5 card bonus token, which has got some quite high value rupees on it, right? There's also a larger number of leather goods in the game, and there's a very, very small amount of high value goods in the game. It's also intriguing that the silver tokens are all 5. There's not many of them, but once the diamonds and the golds get gobbled up by that greedy bastard opposite you, then the silver tokens become quite attractive, right? So there's this sort of balancing act where you gobble up all the high value tokens, hope that's going to be enough, or you take a punt on the shit that's left over at the end of a day's trading and try and grab those quite lucrative bonus points. So the second thing that we really like about this game is that the camel cards give you a little bit of hidden scoring at the end of the round, where you're not going to be spreading that camel shit out onto the table. You're going to be stacking them up into a mini deck, and whilst you might be able to sort of see roughly how many people have got, you're never quite sure unless you've been counting in your head how many camel cards the other player has got. And the camels are going to lead you astray from what you think you should be focusing on, which is the high value goods and maybe going for them bonus tokens. So it adds a third way. It is a bit of a gamble, but those 5 points might just be enough to tip you over the edge should the game be close, and more often than not it is. So what don't we like about Jaipur? So the first thing that we don't like about Jaipur is that sometimes when you're playing this game, it just seems like the cards aren't falling the way that you want them to, right? Especially when you're drawing that single card, you take a leather card from the display and then you draw a diamond and the other player thinks, fuck you, I'm having that one. So like a lot of these really small card games, you are at the mercy of the random card draw. It's not a massive problem because the game is so light and forgettable, but it can leave you tearing your hair out should the makeup of the deck be in your opponent's favour. So the second thing that we don't like about Jaipur is that the setup for such a small two-player card game is a bit of a pain in the arse. Not only have you got to separate them tokens into their respective goods types, but then you've got to go through all them tokens and sort them into value order. So this does sort of slow the game down. Really, this sort of game, you just want to grab your balls, jump in and swim, but no, you've got to arse about, faffing about with all these different tokens. It's not on the scale of like something like Potion Explosion where you've got to sort all of those vials out into different types, but there might have been another way around it. Maybe you could have just, I don't know, used a track or something, and it just bogs the game down for such a silly little game, right? So to summarise, is Jaipur still worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we are going to say, yes, this is a wonderful, albeit slightly luck-oriented two-player card game, right? It looks absolutely fantastic. The artwork on it is really good. It's bright and colourful. It does sometimes feel a little bit unfair if the card draw doesn't go your way. Like we said in the positives, there is always another way. There's 3 different types of ways out of the shithole that you have dug yourself, right? I suppose one of the bugbears of this as well is that it's only a two-player game, right? So therefore, it can only come to the table under specific circumstances. It would have been nice if this had been like a 4-player game. I'm pretty sure it could have worked out in some way to provide you with a 4-player experience, but it's not in there. It's a 2-player game. I would rate this along the same lines as Lost Cities. It's equally as fun as that one. So yeah, we highly recommend Jaipur, right? So there you go. That is Jaipur. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button or that YouTube bullshit. See ya next Tuesday.